Hi, we're Art and Bree. 4 years ago, we left the city to buy a 100-year-old farm to turn it into our own productive homestead where we can grow our own food, build a healthy life, and raise our kids just how we like. If you want to join us in our homesteading adventure on our small farm, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to put in our winter garden before it's too late. But first, morning chores, which starts with prepping for milking and gathering greens for our favorite breakfast.
Here.
Bree's milking the cow while I'm in the garden with the boys and getting breakfast started. Hash is meat, greens, and usually potatoes or sweet potatoes. Milking's done. It's time to let the calves back to their mom and kick them all out of the barn into a beautiful morning.
This morning, but what I'm hooing about is I have like 40 or 50 gallons of frozen tomatoes to can, and I need to do it soon because I'm running out of space. Oops, what happened here? This breakfast is completely from our property except the salt. And there's actually a little paprika in it. I get a really big kick out of that because it's a really, really nice thing that we can do. And we can do it every day if we want to. Right now, at least. Yeah. That's one of your favorite breakfasts, isn't it, Mama? Yes, it is. Why do you like it so much? Because I don't like sweets that much. And this makes me bread breakfast don't make me feel good. Meat and vegetables make me feel really good.
Taking it by the
That's why it makes me feel good. This is real fast food, kinda. It took a long time to grow it all, but not very long to cook it.
Hot sauce.
I like it. I like the flavor.
That's wimpy hot sauce.
I like wimpy hot sauce. I like chipotle hot sauce.
Hold on to my head. I love you, baby bear. Run up to the garden. Here's some more tools. You guys already working up here? Good.
No, we were actually working on having a fight.
Oh. We are putting in our fall winter garden today. It is September 9th, and hey guys, stop throwing dirt. And we are only prepping 4 beds. We're going small. I think this garden has like 30 or 40 beds in it. So we're only doing a very small portion of it because we have other things to pay attention to. I'm hoping we can get it all in the ground before lunch, which will be in about an hour. We're starting by working over these 4 beds to kill any small weeds that are here and also pull the beds a little bit back into shape where they sagged into the paths. One thing I like to do is to mine my old paths for the organic matter. That's a result of the decomposed materials that made the path. When you put straw in a path, it breaks down and you have a nice thin layer of half-rotted straw, fairly nice soil, and I like to just rake that back up into the paths because the beds tend to fall into the paths anyway, and there's no reason to let that nice organic matter go to waste. The strawberries have completely blown out of their beds. This is where the path should be. These are strawberries we planted this year
for harvest next year, and their runners have completely covered this area, so we're going to reestablish this path between the strawberries and the bed above it that we're planting by chopping off a bunch of these runners and throwing them in the compost pile. Show me what you found. You found a potato?
Yeah. Potatoes.
Here, show me. Set them aside, we'll keep them. Nice work, everybody. Great job. We're killing it. If possible, I always pull soil uphill in my slanted garden because water, erosion, and gravity will work against you to move soil nutrients and organic matter downhill. And you can just do your part to keep them from descending too far by always moving things upwards. Next, we're taking some 1/3 rotted hay bales that I had set in the garden for mulching, and we're putting them on our paths to suppress the weeds, and they'll also break down and join next year's garden beds, most likely. These bales are fraught with mycelium from what fungi, I do not know. But I like adding that to the garden soil, whether it's highly beneficial or just fun. We're not using any strings to lay these beds out. I decided that I was going to try, hopefully for several years, to just eyeball my beds because getting them perfectly straight is essentially pointless and it takes a lot of time to run string and stuff. So we're just going to eyeball our beds. We're just going to focus on these 2 beds before lunch because taking out all 4 was too much. So we're going to actually put plants in the ground now. Our seed bed prep doesn't have to be perfect, like when you're planting seeds. Seeds need a very smooth surface. If they're in a very rough soil bed, then some seeds will be very deep and some will be very shallow, or a seed might end up under a big clump of dirt and never make it to the soil surface after it germinates. Today, though, we are planting plant starts, so you don't have to have a perfectly smooth seed bed. The first thing we're planting today is kale, and these are small kale starts. I cannot tell you this variety because Bree bought them, and this one flat doesn't have a label, but it looks like a curly leaf with real fine fingers on it. A nice fresh eating kale probably. It seems like the ones that have those more ornate leaf patterns tend to be more tender and better for fresh eating if you like to eat kale fresh. This is another kale variety called winter boar. And so we're going to make this whole bed kale. One advantage of planting starts for your winter garden is they get a nice head start. If you were to plant seeds, it would take several weeks for them to grow as large as these plants. We've never used plant starts for kale and other greens like we have this year, and we've been very happy with them.
Just notice how beautiful that is.
It is so
put
beautiful.
your hands down beside it and then...
You kids are becoming better and better gardeners as time goes by. I could have just sent you up to plant this bed if I had it prepped like this, and you could plant the whole thing without me. This is an example of terrible seedbed prep with all this straw and stuff. You might be able to get kale to germinate, but kale seeds are very, very small. And so many of them would get lost down in there and be too deep and never germinate. You're doing a great job laying those out, Justice. It makes it really nice and fast for the planters coming through. When you look at your spacing, Justice, I want you to come up here with me for 1 second. Look at these kale plants right here. Look how big they are.
Look how amazing they are.
Say what?
Look how crumpled up they are.
Yeah, they're very rumpled. They're beautiful. And so they've...
Chubby cheeks.
If you look down in there, we've planted them about almost 12 inches apart, and they've completely filled in this whole space. We're planting this garden pretty late, and when you're spacing plants that you plant this late, you can potentially put them closer because they may never grow quite as big as those. Hopefully they will next spring when they survive the winter and come back.
Yes.
But they will not get that big before the days get too short. And short days is what limits plant growth, not the temperature as much. It's both, but the short days trigger the plants to slow down. It's not time to grow like crazy, it's time to survive. Let's see, how many more plants do we have? Don't squeeze those out yet. How many more do we have? I'm trying to just chill out a little bit and let the kids be creative because they're actually really good at this, and while they might not as a group plant the rows as straight as I would like, it really doesn't matter, and they're doing a good job getting each plant in the ground. So I started out telling them, do this, do that, do this, do that. I was having a little bit of a freak out moment, wasn't I, Grace? And then I said, hey, I'm gonna go down to the camper and get a camera battery, you all have fun. And they had planted a big chunk of the bed by the time I got back. Okay, what do you want to do, Brian?
I want to do the purple ones with the purple stems.
You want to do the purple stemmed ones next?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do those. Grace, can you start laying those out? That's Swiss chard. Walk around it, buddy. It's hard for me to hop you over. We heard the lunch bell, but we're gonna finish this, and the lunch caller, the lunch crier, but we're gonna finish this bed before we go in. Look at these Swiss chard roots. They're actually purple, just like the plants. Really beautiful. The principle of winter gardening isn't exactly that you're growing plants in the winter. The principle of winter gardening is that you are harvesting plants in the winter. Now, plants grow a little in the winter, but their growth largely stops down or slows down. So if they don't have a significant harvestable size before the short days of winter come, you won't be able to harvest because they won't continue to grow after a certain point depending on your latitude. These plants will survive the winter and we'll still be able to harvest through the winter most years with zero protection, zero row cover where we live.
The it is that they are growing, the sweeter they are.
Yeah, Grace says that they're better in the winter because the colder it is, the sweeter the greens are, and that really can be true. We just switched to a different variety. It's called Swiss Chard Bright Lights. So that half is this unknown variety Bree probably knows the name of. This one is Swiss Chard Bright Lights. I'm pretty sure this unknown variety here is actually this one when it's mature. And we have this beautiful mature Swiss Chard plant. And this lighter, more rainbowy colored one, I think is this one that's more yellowish. We still have this whole bed of kale and Swiss chard, and we've been harvesting off of it all summer, and it just regrows and keeps throwing up new leaves to keep up with your harvesting. But like I said, that's not the case in the winter, so we want to go into this winter with as much greenery as possible. By the end of the winter, we should have harvested all of this to almost to the ground, and all of these as much as they'll produce greenery before the days get short.
Bye-bye.
Nope. Stick with us till the end. You'll feel so much better if you finish this job and don't run off early. All right, Justice, great job. Thank you so much for your hard work. Grace, great job. Thank you for your hard work. It's lunchtime, guys. Those kids split out of the garden faster than a framing crew on Friday, but that's okay. They worked hard and they're hungry. There's a few that just got missed as we were slamming through here and planting really fast. The fact that I don't have a hose in the garden is proof that a mature garden in many climes does not, in fact, need any watering. We have not watered inside our garden for months now, for most of the summer. We may have watered once this summer after the plants were established. But these little plants will die without water. So we'll water them well, and we'll water the flats that we haven't planted yet. Okay, we're done. It took 2 hours to prep and plant these 2 beds. And I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm very happy we got the beds in. We have probably enough plants to plant 2 more beds, and we're gonna also plant garlic. There may be one other thing. So we'll have probably 3 more beds, and that's going to be our complete fall and winter garden, because we want to have our focus in places other than the garden largely this winter. Bree's actually been in the camper the whole time we were gardening, cooking multiple meals, and has made a really awesome looking chili. You made that fast.
Well, it's going to be better later.
It'll be better later. Chili always gets better. It's a huge pot of chili, so I'll actually do multiple meals, which is a feat with this family.
Can I have some more?
Can you have more?
Chili.
Yeah, you can have more chili.
Oh, it's nice.
You want more chili? Yeah, you can have more chili. It's raining on our whole property and on the garden. I hope you learned something in today's video. It's probably not too late to plant a fall garden where you are, though it may be. So check that out, and you may be able to squeeze one in if you want to try this out. Thanks for joining us today, and we will see you soon in another video. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.